Evening all, welcome to A Bridge Too Far. Now, this is actually a domination replay from a few weeks ago, but I thought this map just seems to get really good battles, so I thought I'd bring you this one as well. Now, let me set the scene for you. This whole event started yesterday. I ran 13 domination matches in a row. Roughly the same gang. I know a few people came and left, but in essence it was the same group, and we just played like domination continually, really kind of waiting to see how they go. And out of the 13, this was the last of the 13, and this was also probably the toughest. This was the closest it came to being, you know, an actual contest. The other 12, rather, I think were quite not easy, but they were certainly, I think, you know, we were comfortably winning. Is probably the non-trolly way to say that. It's against a group of Grupo de Chacal, and I think there's actually two squads, so I think they Q-synced two groups in, but I could be wrong, but it certainly seemed that way. There seemed to be a training group in here as well. And to begin with, it obviously goes really badly as I jump off the bridge to my death. But yes, in essence, this became one of those matches that you kind of remember. Now, it's interesting when you do dominations, because I find that, you know, to be honest, at the moment, this is kind of my beginning of November feelings. The game at the moment is pretty much, if you know, it seems factional warfare is where everybody is running. So if you go into FW, you find that there's no matchmaking going on there. So I think people are generally running FW because that means they can do proto stomps. Yeah. If you go into a domination and an ambush or a normal skirmish, they are obviously match made. So therefore you will be going up against groups of people the same level as you and capability as you. So I think that's why a lot of people are avoiding them. Now, weirdly enough, that's created a kind of paradox where actually going into, you know, the match-made matches is actually better now because you end up getting a much better game. And so on. So, and we'll discuss this. But first of all, let's enjoy this orbital strike. 1 of 4 today. And here, this is really, I think, the beauty of this map, because everything happens in this very compact little space. And goodbye, their entire team. Lovely, lovely. Now, this is a good one because we actually had a tank support as well, which was pretty cool. And that was Delboy running a really good gun logi. And I think when you get a good group of players together, they seem to be able to, you know, do good stuff. But again, you know, sometimes, I mean, look at this guy. God almighty, I just can't hit him, save my life. And that was my 1,000 hit point assault suit, so go figure. But we get revenge. Look at this. My trusty shotgun, my 500 hit point scout suit. Well, less than that, actually. And I take him on. Now look at him jigging around. Isn't that incredible? I'd love to know how these people move like that. I just don't know how they do it, because it looks like they're running. It looks like whatever. So if you know how to do that, post in the comments. If it's just literally a graphical glitch where they're just moving around as I would, then, you know, tell me that, because I'm convinced there's something going on, because it does feel like, you know, they're running kinetic catalyzers. What was that? Tell me. But here we go. So we orbitaled them and we got the point back, and then it becomes an interesting slog from here. Anyway, returning to the topic, the current feeling I get is that if you go into any of the normal matches, like, you know, as I said, the matchmaking ones, you're probably going to have a better battle now, because it does feel that a lot of the kind of, you know, annoying proto stompers, oh, there we go, enemy orbital, the kind of proto stompers are just running FW, so they can just easily win. Do you know what I mean? I honestly think that is what's going on. Now, as you can see, we've been pushed entirely back now. This is obviously quite drastic. And we had no spawn pods, and to be honest, we learnt from this, because once again we positioned our spawn pads badly. If you play these maps where you know an orbital is going to happen, what you need to obviously do is place spawn pads further away. So obviously at the start of the bridge, underneath the bridge, these kind of things. And obviously that was our mistake, and we didn't do that. And obviously I'm just repeating the mistake, but we need quick spawn pads. But here we go. So we're now back on the kind of, you know, the back foot once more. And really it's just a case of watching them spam, what, 15 spawn pads maybe? And shitloads of ammo, etc. And to be honest, this is the wonder of these matches, because they really are hungry for this. Oh, look, another OB. So, so here we go. So pretty much all I'm telling the team to do now is get ready, and on your marks, get set, trollololol, boom. And then I placed this one a bit better this time, because you can see I could see that pretty much the middle of the bridge was where it was needed. But there we go, look at all these fine kills. Plenty fine kills. Lovely. And there we go. So, you know, we have the point back. So, again, I'm just kind of baffled that, you know, Grupo and the enemy team were kind of so, you know, foolish, I guess, to not put spawn pads further away. Now, I guess they just dropped one there, but that was because there was a guy pretty much there. Again, fascinating stuff. And I think, you know, it's only by doing these matches where you have a really tricky, tough attack do you kind of see you know, how to best run them. And I think certainly this one was a prime example of just waiting for the orbital, holding a line. I mean, that's in essence what we were doing, was holding a line. Nice headshot there, by the way. And you know, just basically waiting for when when the orbital comes, you just rush, you get the point, then you set your base up, and then you're off again. So, you know, I do think that this map is just one of my favourite now. I think that just fighting around a single point just gets such better battles. I think skirmish and you know, ambush are okay, but I just love the fact that everything's concentrated, focused on one point, and I find that very enjoyable. Now, probably a thing to bear in mind here again, this is just another sort of top tip, is that when you know you have a risk of being counter-orbitaled, you split your gang up a bit. So you see here, I don't know if you can see that very clearly, but we've actually now sort of started to spread out. So, you know, some of us are on one side of the bridge, some of us are on the other, some of us are underneath it. And it's all about now just, you know, getting a you know, because we know it's coming. There we go, orbital in. So pretty much we knew that as it came down, we had to get under the bridge, and there we go. And you'll notice on the map, 3 of our teams survived, so that's absolutely brilliant. And then we're straight back in, ready to you know, to stop the counter. Now, again, we know that this is obviously the tactic they're running, but you know, that orbital was a sloppy orbital because it didn't kill enough spawn pads, it didn't kill the team, and lo and behold, you know, we killed them. Now, annoyingly, they get the hack, but again, we can counter that. But obviously, don't do it when there's grenades coming in. And oh, look, another orbital. So here we go. Now, to be honest, at this point, I think we're still in control of the objective. But what we decided to do, because we knew that they were rushing it right now, so we orbitaled the point where we knew that they'd be passing a beyond. And see how many we get here. Look at that. Absolutely fantastic. And that was just pure, you know, understanding of what your enemy's about to do. That really was just thinking about where would they be, what are they going to be trying to do, etc. And lo and behold, we got them. Now, we also knew that they, at this point, they were trying to counter, they were trying to basically create a spawn pad underneath where we are. So obviously that's what we deal with here. And, you know, spawn pad down, guys destroyed, and, you know, pretty much that entire push stopped even before it started. This guy, as you can see in the distance, he runs off and drops a spawn pad before Dell kills him. Or rather, I think Deep got him there. And then we realise he's dropped a spawn pad, and then immediately the team is straight off to go and deal with it. This is good, you know, coordinated, good comms, you know, tight control of a team. That obviously is why we won 13 dominations in a row, because, you know, there's no ego in the team. So if we say, you know, I mean, you know, there wasn't somebody ordering someone to do something, it would be, you know, right, this is what's happening, let's deal with it. And the team just dealt with it, and that is a sign of a great team. Having the right hardware in helps as well. Having a tank in majorly helps, because for some reason, when the enemy teams see that you've got a tank in, you know, a good number of their blueberries possibly will go and switch to a forge gun or swarms, and they will just focus and try and kill the tank. And they don't maybe realise that that's going to maybe lose them the match, because we do that on purpose, because the tank is good against everything, but AV troops to deal with that tank are good against only that tank. And when you've got a pilot like Delboy, who's very good, he's just going to, you know, bait people. So as you can see, he's backed off, and he's now, you know, making their entire AV group of people pointless. So, you know, it really is. I mean, it's just, you know, I know it's infantry 101, but for some reason people don't understand this. You know, if you see somebody call in a tank and your entire team goes, oh, tank, and you all go and get forge guns and swarm launches, then you've fallen into the trap, particularly if you're playing an objective game like this. Sometimes your best tactic is just to ignore the bloody thing. So, you know, have a consideration of that, because I think certainly the the reality is, oh, look, another orbital. I think the reality is that sometimes it's better not to respond to rather the immediate tactic and just think of the strategy, okay? So this one doesn't go too well. I was in a bit of a rush because I thought I was about to be shot. And in fact, I'm going to chalk that one up as a fail orbital. So, yeah, no kills. Killed a couple of spawn pads. Yeah, that will show them. But basically not the best one I've ever done. Wow, that guy's tanked, isn't he? Woo, that's an amazing tank that guy had. Anyway, so as it stands, I think these dominations are by far probably the most enjoyable play mode you can do. It's annoying when you get stomped on one side or the other. It's rare that, I mean, to be honest, I think if we ran the 13 last night, I think out of them, I would say that probably 7 or 8 of them were good battles. The rest were probably just easy wins. And that could have been because randoms are in the game, and so on. But as it stands, I think there is certainly something to be said about running the match-made games once again, because I honestly would say most of the people who you hate to encounter because all they want to do is just proto stomp you and offie stomp you, they're actually running FW, so it would appear. So that's probably a good thing for the people who actually want to have a good fight. As you can see, the tank did well. It survived. Lots of snipers now. When you push your team to resort to sniping, I call that a kind of a victory of sorts. And as you can see, we didn't win by MCC. We're about to clone them, which is hilarious. Oh, funny, I got run over. That's my own fault. But again, when you kind of resort to them... Oh, here we go. So enemy orbital in, and yeah, he pretty much orbitals the wrong thing. It's fascinating. At some point, you will realise you've won because your enemy no longer tries. And I think that's just happened there. They didn't even try and push to get the point with that OB. Okay, they couldn't have won anyway, but that's the way it goes. So there we go. Bit trolly. Yeah, a little bit trolly, but I think... it's important to show these matches, I think, because again, when you look at the franticness and the kind of crazy, action that can be part of this game, plus the tactics, I think it's good stuff. 32-9. I lost a few scout seats there, which sucked. It really did, and I've got to admit, I'll do a video on the scout soon, I think, because the scout suit is just totally gimped. I think I died only a few times in the entire 13 matches. I died maybe 7 or 8 times in my assault suit, but I probably died 20-30 times in my scout suit. So they're just not great. And I think, to be quite honest with you, I think the scout suit really needs some love, or they just need to kind of just wash their hands of it and just say it's for perimeter use only. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed that. I think we'll certainly bring you some more of the footage. We'll probably summarise the 13, or rather the other 12 matches we did, because they're well worthy looking at. Hope you enjoyed that. See you next time.